Scientists were 100% sure these animals were dead, gone forever, wiped off the planet. They were wrong. One of them hadn't been seen in over 300 years. People had been eating it to extinction since Shakespeare was alive. Another was known only from fossils, and scientists swore it died out with the mammoths until they walked into a village and found it trotting around behind someone's house. These are 10 animals the world gave up on, declared extinct, mourned, and closed the book on, that turned up alive. And the closer we get to number 1, the stranger they get. Because the last animal on this list might still be out there right now, hiding in a swamp, and nobody on Earth can prove it either way. Number 10. Coelacanth. The coelacanth was supposed to be a fossil, nothing more. Scientists had only ever seen it pressed into ancient rock, and every one of those fossils was at least 66 million years old. As far as anyone knew, it vanished with the dinosaurs. Then came December 1938. A museum curator named Marjorie Courtney Latimer got a tip about a strange fish on a local trawler. She went to look and froze. Blue scales, thick, fleshy fins. Nothing in any modern textbook matched it. She sketched it, fought to preserve it, and sent the drawing to an expert who nearly fell out of his chair. It was a living coelacanth, an animal from the age of dinosaurs, swimming in the 20th century. Picture it, a fish with fins like stubby legs, cruising the deep ocean while empires rose and fell above it, completely unbothered, completely unnoticed. But the coelacanth is famous. You've maybe heard of it before. It's not even the strangest thing on this list, because the next one wasn't just a fish in the sea. It was a bird that couldn't fly, that everyone was sure had been wiped out 50 years earlier. Number 9. Takahe. The takahe is a plump, flightless bird from New Zealand with electric blue feathers and a beak like a bolt cutter. By 1900, it was gone. The last one had been seen back in 1898, and after decades of silence, scientists closed the book, extinct. For roughly 50 years, that was the accepted truth. Then a doctor named Jeffrey Orbell refused to accept it. He'd heard old stories, seen strange tracks, and became obsessed. In 1948, he hiked deep into a remote mountain valley on the South Island, and there they were, living takahe, grazing in the grass like they'd never left. The photographs stunned the world. Imagine an entire hidden population of a dead bird tucked away in a valley so isolated that civilization simply forgot to look. It's still one of New Zealand's proudest conservation stories. Now, a bird surviving in a hidden valley is one thing, but the next creature came back from something far crazier, a giant insect the size of your hand, found on a rock in the middle of nowhere. Number 8. Lord Howe Island stick insect. The Lord Howe Island stick insect is so big and heavy that locals called it the tree lobster. It lived on one tiny island in the Pacific until 1918, when a shipwreck spilled black rats onto its shores. The rats ate everything. Within a couple of years, the insect was gone. For about 80 years, it was considered extinct, wiped out, case closed. Then climbers noticed something impossible. Off the coast stood Ball's Pyramid, a jagged spire of rock jutting straight out of the ocean, 13 miles away. And on that spire, on a single scraggly bush, in 2001, scientists found them. Fewer than 30 living insects hanging on. That's it. An entire species, surviving on one plant, on one rock, in the middle of the sea. Picture a glossy black creature the length of your palm, clinging to the last green thing for 100 miles, refusing to die out. That's survival against impossible odds. But 80 years is nothing. The next animal wasn't missing for decades. It was missing for centuries. Number 7. Bermuda petrel. The Bermuda petrel, called the takahe, has a story that almost doesn't feel real. When settlers reached Bermuda in the early 1600s, they brought pigs, rats, cats, and appetite. The takahe nested in burrows, easy to grab, easy to eat. By around 1620, it was gone. And here's the staggering part. It stayed extinct for over 300 years, 3 centuries. Generations lived and died believing this seabird was a ghost. Then, in 1951, a small team searched the rocky islets off Bermuda's coast and found 18 nesting pairs. 18. After 330 years of silence, a bird that Shakespeare's contemporaries had eaten to extinction was still quietly raising chicks in the dark. Picture a slender gray and white seabird slipping back to a hidden burrow at night, as it had done, unseen, for 300 years. 3 centuries in the dark. Hard to top that. But the next one flips the script, because this animal wasn't just thought extinct. It was known only from fossils. People assumed it had died out in the Ice Age. Number 6. Chacoan peccary. The Chacoan peccary looks like a wild pig with a bristly coat and a long snout, and for a long time, scientists knew it only as bones. It was described from fossils, an animal presumed to have gone extinct thousands of years ago, a relic of the prehistoric past. Then, in the 1970s, researchers pushed into the harsh, thorny scrubland of the Gran Chaco in South America, and they got a shock. The locals knew this animal well, they hunted it, they had a name for it. It was alive, an entire living species that science had filed under prehistoric. Imagine walking into a remote village and realizing the extinct creature you study is trotting through the brush behind someone's house. That's the peccary. Okay, stop for a second. Think about what that actually means. We're not talking about a rare animal that hid in a valley. We're talking about a species scientists literally believed had died out in the age of mammoths, walking around right now, well known to the people who lived beside it. So ask yourself, how many extinct animals are still out there? Not lost, just unlooked for. Keep that question in your head, because the next 5 get stranger. Number 5. Cuban solenodon. The Cuban solenodon might be the weirdest mammal you've never heard of. It's a strange, shrew-like creature with a long, rubbery snout and a venomous bite which almost no mammal has. It's slow, clumsy, and hopelessly outmatched by the cats and mongooses humans introduced to Cuba. Naturalists feared it was extinct more than once. It would vanish for decades at a time, and each time, people assumed the worst. After a long silence, one was finally captured alive in 2003, proof this venomous little survivor was still hanging on in Cuba's remote forests. Picture a slow, ancient-looking animal snuffling through the leaves at night, delivering a toxic bite like something out of the age of dinosaurs, because that's roughly how old its lineage is. A venomous mammal is bizarre, but the next rediscovery came out of the treetops, a tiny, wide-eyed primate that scientists were convinced had been gone for the better part of a century. Number 4. Pygmy tarsier. The pygmy tarsier is small enough to fit in your palm, with enormous round eyes built for hunting in the dark. It lives high in the misty cloud forests of Sulawesi in Indonesia, and by the early 20th century, it seemed to have simply disappeared. For around 80 years, scientists believed it was extinct. No sightings, no specimens, nothing. Then, in 2008, a research team climbing through the cold mountain forest set traps and caught 3 living pygmy tarsiers alive, blinking back at them. One researcher reportedly got bitten by an animal her field was sure no longer existed. Picture a creature the size of a mouse, with eyes bigger than its brain, clinging to a mossy branch in the fog, thousands of feet up, watching humans who thought it was a ghost. A palm-sized primate is easy to lose, but the next animal is the opposite. A big, fanged predator that hid so well, it was known from a single specimen for over 100 years. Number 3. Terror skink. The terror skink earns its name. It's a large lizard from a tiny island near New Caledonia with long, curved, needle-like teeth. The teeth of a hunter, not a bug nibbler. And for the longest time, scientists had exactly one of them. A single specimen collected back in 1876. That was it. One animal, one moment, then nothing for well over a century. Most assumed it was long extinct. Then, in the early 2000s, researchers returned to that remote islet and found the terror skink alive, prowling the rocks. A predator that had gone unseen for around 130 years, still hunting on its isolated scrap of land. Picture a foot-long lizard with a mouthful of curved fangs, slipping between sun-baked boulders on an island most people will never set foot on. A fanged skink is a good comeback. But the next one clawed its way back from an even longer silence. A giant lizard known mostly from old bones on a Spanish island. Number 2. La Gomera giant lizard. The La Gomera giant lizard comes from the Canary Islands, off the coast of Africa. It's big, much bigger than the little lizards you'd expect, and for a long time, it was known mainly from subfossil remains. Scientists believed the giant lizards of this island had been wiped out, driven off by cats and rats, and centuries of human settlement, presumed extinct. Then, in 1999, researchers spotted something clinging to a steep, almost unreachable cliff face, a small surviving population of these giant lizards, hiding on ledges too dangerous for predators to reach. A handful of animals holding the entire species on a vertical wall of rock. Picture a heavy, dark lizard basking on a narrow cliff ledge, hundreds of feet above the ocean, the last of its kind, clinging, literally, to survival. So that's 9 animals declared gone and found alive. 9 happy endings. But the #1 spot isn't settled, not even close, because this last bird might be extinct, or it might still be out there, and nobody can prove it either way. Number 1. Ivory-billed woodpecker. The ivory-billed woodpecker was the giant of American forests, a huge, striking black and white bird with a pale bill, haunting the old-growth swamps of the southern United States. As those forests were logged, the bird vanished. The last widely accepted sighting was in 1944. For 60 years, it was mourned as extinct. Then, in 2004 and 2005, researchers claimed they'd seen it again in the swamps of Arkansas. They reported blurry video, distant calls, brief glimpses. The announcement made headlines around the world. But here's the twist. No one has ever produced clear, undeniable proof. The evidence is debated to this day. Some scientists are convinced it's still out there. Others say the last one died decades ago. Officials have even weighed declaring it officially extinct and then hesitated. Picture a ghost bird flitting through a misty swamp, always just out of frame, never quite confirmed. So I'll leave it with you. Do you think the ivory-billed woodpecker is still alive, hidden somewhere in those swamps, or is it gone for good and we just can't let go? Tell me in the comments. I read them. Somewhere out there is an animal we've all given up on, still alive, still waiting. Subscribe, and let's go find the next one together.